Hello everyone, welcome to this third and final lesson in Module 1, Introduction to Supply Chain Optimization. Now this third lesson will focus on the key performance indicators for supply chain optimization. There's a number of items on our agenda today. We will be studying the basics of key performance indicators. We will look at key performance indicators for supply chain management. We'll do a case study of implementing KPIs for supply chain optimization. And finally, best practices for KPI tracking and reporting. Now, the learning outcomes from this lesson will be to understand what KPIs are and their importance in business operations, identifying the most common KPIs used in supply chain management and understanding how they impact the business, understanding how KPIs can be applied in real-world scenarios for supply chain management optimization, and learning the best practices for tracking and reporting key performance indicators. Now, KPIs are quantifiable measures used by a business to track, monitor, and assess the success of various operations, projects, or initiatives. KPIs are an important tool for performance management and decision making because they provide a clear, measurable value that shows how well a company is achieving its key business objectives. They can be financial, such as the rate of revenue growth, or non-financial methods, for example, customer satisfaction. Now, KPIs are critical in developing strategies and identifying areas for improvement. Therefore, they enable managers to determine whether the company is on track to meet objectives, and if not, where the problems are, where the problems lie. Now, it is critical to select the appropriate key performance indicators. The KPIs chosen should be in line with the company's goals and strategic objectives. They must be applicable to the specific industry, function, or project, and actionable, as in they must provide insights that can guide decision making towards the desired outcomes. Firstly, you identify the business goals, define the key supply chain objectives, identify relevant KPIs, collect the data, analyze your KPIs, implement changes based on KPI analysis, and then you monitor your KPIs and adjust as necessary, depending on the circumstances. Now, what are some of the key performance indicators that we can use for supply chain management? We would look at four major or four common ones. Now, order status and accuracy. This key performance indicator tracks the accuracy of order fulfillment. High order accuracy can lead to increased customer satisfaction, repeat business, and a strong company reputation. In this current climate, a company's brand is one of its greatest assets. On the other hand, frequent errors in orders can result in returns, increased costs, and potential damage to customer relationships. This will not be beneficial to the company or your customer. Now, inventory turnover. This key performance indicator measures how many times a company's inventory is sold and replaced over a certain period. A higher inventory turnover rate can indicate effective inventory management, efficient use of warehouse space, and a strong sales performance. Conversely, a low turnover rate may suggest overstocking, slow-moving products, or issues with your sales strategies. A third key performance indicator is a cycle time. Now, the cycle time refers to the total time from the beginning to the end of your process, as defined by you and your operations. In the context of supply chain management, it could be the time it takes to process an order from receipt to delivery to the customer. Therefore, a shorter cycle time can lead to quicker deliveries, improved customer satisfaction, and the ability to handle larger volumes of orders. This would also speak to the efficiency and effectiveness of your operations, which is a key performance indicator within supply chain management. Finally, the fill rate. Now, this key performance indicator measures the percentage of customer demand that is met through immediate stock availability without back orders or lost sales. Therefore, a high fill rate can indicate efficient inventory management and high customer service levels, while a low fill rate may suggest stockouts, potential lost sales, and unsatisfied customers. Taken together, these four key performance indicators are crucial to providing insights into the operations of your supply chain organization. Now we will look at the case study of Amazon and a key performance indicator that was successful within their strategy. Now, implementing key performance indicators for supply chain optimization is a strategic approach that allows business to measure and evaluate their supply chain operations effectiveness. KPIs effectively serve as quantifiable measurements that reflect the critical success factors of any organization, particularly in supply chain management. So in the context of supply chain management, these indicators might include metrics related to order accuracy, inventory turnover, cycle time, and fill rate, among others, as mentioned on the previous slide. Therefore, key KPIs are critical in optimizing supply chain operations. They provide measurable values that demonstrate the effectiveness of a company in achieving key business objectives. In the context of supply chain management, KPIs can help monitor inventory levels, track your supplier performance, oversee production rates, and much more. A case study that exemplifies the successful implementation of KPIs in supply chain optimization is that of Amazon. Now, Amazon, which is a global e-commerce giant, has been using reinforcement learning algorithms to improve their supply chain performance. The company has developed RL algorithms to define winning artificial intelligence strategies and keep up with rising consumer delivery expectations. Now, how did they go about this? So Amazon faced the challenge of matching supply with demand, their supply with their customers' demand. Now, this is a common issue in supply chain management. The company needed to ensure that it could meet customer demand while minimizing costs and maintaining efficiency in its operations. So, how did they go about this? Now, to address this issue, Amazon turned to KPIs and artificial intelligence and machine learning models to gather datasets and provide forecast guidance in applications such as cognitive demand forecasting, product end-of-life forecasting, and demand integrated product flow. The KPIs that were chosen by Amazon included forecast accuracy, inventory turnover, and order status. Why do you think that these KPIs were chosen? Well, for a particular reason. By choosing these particular KPIs, Amazon was able to monitor and improve its supply chain performance. For example, by improving forecast accuracy, Amazon could better predict customer demand and adjust its inventory levels accordingly. Now, the result of this was that Amazon was able to reduce costs and improve customer satisfaction. The results achieved by Amazon were significant. Now, they were able to improve their forecast accuracy, solve supply chain optimization challenges, and also train their systems to respond to unforeseen circumstances. This had some amazing effects on supply chain management within Amazon. Overall, it led to an improved supply chain performance and eventually increased customer satisfaction. This is one of the reasons why Amazon was able to quickly scale and grow and to become one of the few companies with a market capitalization of over $1 trillion. Now we look at some of the best practices for KPI tracking and reporting. Tracking and reporting key performance indicators effectively is crucial for gaining insights into the performance of your supply chain and making informed decisions. In this section, we'll discuss some key best practices to achieve this result. First is consistency. It is essential to establish consistent measurement methods and data collection processes for your KPIs. Why? Consistency ensures that the KPIs are comparable to each other over time. This would then allow you to identify key trends and measure progress accurately. Consistent tracking also enables benchmarking against industry standards or competitors. Understanding the best practices in the industry or being able to know what your competitors are measuring against will allow you to achieve a competitive advantage. A second best practice for KPI tracking and reporting is accuracy. Now, accurate data is vital for reliable KPI reporting. We need to ensure that the data used for tracking KPIs is reliable, that the data is up to date, and also that the data reflects the true performance of your supply chain. By implementing checks and validation of processes to minimize errors and ensure data integrity, you can thus assure your decision makers that they are making information that is based on the best reliable data. Thirdly, timeliness. Now, timely reporting of KPIs provides real-time insights into supply chain performance, allowing for prompt decision making. By establishing clear reporting timelines and ensure that the data is collected, analyzed, and reported within the specified timeframes, decision makers will be able to make accurate, correct, and timely decisions for the organization, particularly against its external competitors. In the current environment of disruption and supply chain uncertainty, being able to make accurate, timely decisions is crucial, not just for supply chain organizations, but every organization in particular. Having this information on hand enables stakeholders to identify issues promptly and thus take corrective actions that will result in better organization performance. A second issue is the use of automation and supply chain management software. Now, utilizing supply chain management software can streamline KPI tracking and reporting processes. Supply chain management software offers features like automated data collection, real-time reporting, and customizable dashboards. enabling you to monitor KPIs efficiently. It eliminates manual data entry errors and enables faster data analysis and visualization. Another key best practice for KPI tracking is visualization and communication. By presenting KPIs in a visual and easy to understand format, enhances communication and comprehension. Therefore, the use of graphs, charts, and dashboards to represent KPI data visually makes it easier for stakeholders to interpret the information, identify patterns, and understand the impact of actions taken to optimize the supply chain. Lastly, regular review and analysis. By regularly reviewing and analyzing KPIs, it is essential to enable the identification of trends, patterns, and areas for improvement. Thus, as a supply chain professional, we need to conduct periodic reviews of KPI performance so that we are able to compare actual results against targets and benchmarks. This would easily allow the analysis of the root causes of performance gaps and enable you to take proactive measures to address them. By implementing these best practices, organizations can effectively track and report KPIs, leading to improved supply chain performance and informed decision making. Now, consistency, accuracy, timeliness, automation through supply chain management software, effective visualization, and regular analysis. These are all key elements for successful KPI tracking and reporting. Now remember, KPIs are only valuable if they are tracked, reported, and acted upon. As a supply chain professional, you need to emphasize a culture of continuous improvement and use KPIs as a tool to drive positive change within your supply chain organization. This concludes the lesson 3, key performance indicators of supply chain optimization. Some of the things we have looked at would have been the basics of key performance indicators used in supply chain management, a case study, particularly Amazon, of implementing KPIs for supply chain optimization and the benefit that can be achieved. And lastly, we looked at some best practices for KPI tracking and reporting. The key learning point to take from this last lesson to understand what KPIs are and their importance in business operations. Identify the most common KPIs used in supply chain management and understanding how they impact the business. Understanding how KPIs can be applied in real-world scenarios for supply chain management optimization. In this case, we've looked at Amazon. And thirdly, learning the best practices for tracking and reporting KPIs within your organization. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson as presented and all three lessons within these modules. Of course, if there are any questions that you may have or any point that you would like to have clarified, please feel free to contact me at kilroydbjames@gmail.com. We look forward to module 2, supply chain analysis. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.